So, Paul, uh, for
Yes.
someone who has been working in quality, health, safety, and environment management, where do they typically encounter PDCA in their day-to-day work without even realizing it?
Thank you, Ronald. I had written something down that is based on on-site examples because I know some of my audience may be new into the field. So I wanted to get examples that are real practical based. I'll use one example to explain the Plan, Do, Check, Act all through. So I'll
Or,
start with a
or
safety walk. I believe, yes, an example of a safety walk. Is that okay?
yes, please
Yes.
proceed.
Yeah, so a safety walk has plan, do, check, act if you look at it critically. So from the safety walk, you have the planning phase. Here is you're coming up with the topic you want to use, where you're going to do the walk, where you're going to, which team you're going to actually use to do the walk. And then if you're having an activity, I'll give an example of a work at height activity. You're going to work at height and you're going to do a safety walk. So you're doing the planning phase when you're going to that safety walk. And then when you're going to the do phase, you're now doing the walk. This is where you take your team and you're observing the positive or the negative from that activity. Here you're moving with the team. You're having questions to those involved in the actual work at height, engaging them. That is doing. Then when you look at check here, you're looking at the observations against the standard of your own plan. So every activity, as long as it's having an HSE management system, has a standard. So for your work at height, what is your minimum? Maybe it is 1.2 meters high. Do they have the required tools, the required personal protective equipment for that? Then you check that off. So the team that is going, they should have knowledge of the standard that they're going to follow to actually achieve the checking. Then when you do the act, now the act, this involves having a quick on the spot conversation to correct the unsafe act or the unsafe behavior. Here, if the person is at the height and he's above, maybe your standard is 1.2 and he doesn't have a safety harness on, maybe your standard could be 2 meters because of the extension of the fall restraint. Do they have the safety harness hooked? Is it on the lower ledger or it is above the head? So here is doing, you engage them and say, you ask them, why do you have a harness but it's not hooked? Then from that engagement, you find out the root cause. This is an example of a safety walk. You can go a step further. I'll give an example. Maybe those who have done investigations in different fields, maybe they've not done the work. Investigations, when you're going to do an investigation, maybe you've had an incident, but plan your investigation, the tool you're going to use for that investigation. Maybe it's in the production, or it would be even IT. You're going to have an inspection on why a system is not functioning. What tools are you going to use? What gadgets do you need to actually to achieve this investigation? And then you're going to go into the do phase. Here, you're now trying to figure out the root cause, actively involving in the investigation. You're doing the search, you're doing the checklist, just like before with the safety professional work at height, engaging in the investigation itself. And then when you go to the check, you're here you're having your findings to ensure that they're logical and they're complete. The check is when you check, you assess with your system what was fault and what have you found. You compare the two. So checking has to have two standards being compared: what is in place and actually what is your original or the procedural standard. And then when you go into the act here, you're developing and implementing the corrective actions to prevent your occurrence. So if the system failed, what have you done? What you're going to do to prevent that system from failing again? So that is an example. Yeah. Thank you.